We got so cool with Kwame when they were on tour with NWA. We got invited to the NWA tour. We literally got to dance on stage. Drexel, University of Arts, Montgomery Community College, Stearns College, Yale, New School in New York, Wesleyan, if I didn't say that, in Connecticut, Bennington in Vermont. And I introduced hip hop to all of them. And when I left, I helped others get hired to teach hip hop. So nobody's put anybody in a college teaching hip hop dance more than me. So I show up and she told me, when she saw me coming, she was like, oh Lord, another one. She said, the book that fell out, once I saw the book and said to myself, this is her. Once I said to myself, if he's reading that, he's serious.
What was that book?
She hired me on the spot.
Yeah, what was that book?
Dance connected me with so many other things. Then I became interested. Things were fun through the lens of dance. Right. So I'm studying anthropology through the lens of dance. I'm studying linguistics through the lens of dance. I'm studying philosophy through the lens of dance. Archaeology through the lens of dance, which made it much more interesting. History through the lens of dance. Both, I got the reject letter and the acceptance letter. I still have.
This is how beautiful life is, right? You never know. Just because you get turned down by one thing, maybe something else is happening even better.
We got so good at dancing. We were the best dancers in the city. And so whenever promoters would bring comedians or R&B singers or rappers to my town, they would get us to open up.
Okay.
Like I opened up for Kwame, I opened up for Sweet Tea, I opened up for, I think we might have opened up for Hammer. We got so cool with Kwame, when they were on tour with NWA, we got invited to the NWA tour and we literally got to dance on stage.
Was it in the NWA or?
Well, they're on their tour, yeah.
Oh, okay,
we were on stage on that tour at I think at the Spectrum in Philly. So it was like we did stuff and I was on TV shows before I met Stretch and them. So it's like we did stuff.
Sure.
But I wouldn't say we did it at the caliber that they were doing it.
Right.
But yeah, people who were the hot ticket then but didn't blow up.
Sure.
But had music videos and stuff like that.
Which is plenty of the stories for most of the dancers, because most of the dancers never made it to the top of the top. Okay, so back to you were hustling in your 20s, did a lot of teaching. Rennie Harris. Rennie Harris is the dance company that does performance like nationwide, produce shows, or it still exists today.
Yeah.
Which is the one that Cricket was on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That Cricket's how I got in there.
And then are they the one that also did the hip hop Nutcracker, or
no?
That's a different one.
Somebody else. Yeah.
That's somebody else. But Rennie Harris, it's a very big name in the dance community. So you were on there for how long?
I was with the company for 10 years.
10 years straight.
Yeah, from 98 to 2010.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. And then after that, you said you.
After that. Like, I was just mostly teaching in universities. I mean, like I said, I was teaching in universities 2003. I've taught at 9 different universities. I introduced hip-hop to all of them. I am most likely the second person out of the hip-hop community that was hired as a faculty to teach in university. Pop Master Fable was first in the late 90s with NYU, and then me.
Was he... Okay, he was the first one in NYU and taught what class?
He taught, I don't know the name of his class, but I know he taught popping, I know he taught locking.
Was it mostly movement only, or?
To my understanding. I don't know if it was lecturing, but I'm pretty sure they probably conflated, so it was like lecturing while learning the practice itself. Okay,
and then as far as you know, you're the second person.
As far as
got
I know,
this job
out of the hip-hop community proper, I'm the second person that got hired as a faculty member, because I thought Rennie was.
Okay.
And he was like, no, you were doing it before me.
Huh.
And then I wasn't sure if Crystal, who used to dance with Rennie, I was like, weren't you? She was like, nope, you were there before me.
Okay, so USC hired you when?
2015.
2015, so it's been...
10 years.
Almost, 2024, okay. Yeah. And then you were full-time since then?
Yeah, I came in on there full-time. Before then, it was 14 years of me adjuncting, but like I said, I was Drexel, University of Arts, Montgomery Community College, Stearns College, Yale, New School in New York, Wesleyan, if I didn't say that, in Connecticut, Bennington in Vermont, and I introduced hip-hop to all of them. And then when I left, I helped others get hired to teach hip-hop. So when nobody's put anybody in a college teaching hip-hop dance more than me.
This is where the credit should be, dude.
Facts.
There you go. All right. Okay, let's dig into that a little deeper, too. I would love to know that. Okay, when you were teaching at those universities, was it also mainly movement or also history?
Then it was movement, and I had to, incorporate any historical stuff within the movement class.
But it wasn't like a majority or the main content of the class. It was mostly dance.
Right.
Kind of like ballet of the world, like the Well, even ballet nowadays, they all have like history and like
most stuff is ballet, and they'll throw in some stuff, but there's not. I mean, you might have classes like whatever they might call it, dance history or something like that. That's a generic term, but
not much.
That will focus on ballet, but not primarily ballet and other dance forms. Dance is an art form. I think we teach one of those courses like that. So there are lecture courses that are usually not taught by the person that teaches ballet.
Huh.
Sometimes they are.
Okay. But at USC, you're teaching not just the movement class.
Right.
And
I only teach the movement class for the majors, the ones who are there to get a degree in dance.
Right.
I used to teach for the elective students, anybody on campus that wanted to take a dance class.
Sure.
But now I tend to focus on just the majors, and then I teach lecture classes that are open to anybody on campus.
And how many of those lecture class, like in your main teaching curriculum, what's the percentage of movement and how much of it is more like a history and it?
None.
You're not even
in the lecture classes. Is that what you mean?
Right.
Yeah, none. Unless I. So the lecture classes, we meet twice a week for 16 weeks. And it's all theoretical, and reading books and looking at films and discussing things and critical thought and whatnot. But every now and then, I'll incorporate some classes where we actually move so that they have somewhat, because it's not dancers, it's anybody. It's engineers and such.
Yeah.
So just to give them a bit of an embodied experience.
Okay.
So I applied to Drexel.
In Philly.
Yeah, University of the Arts is the first university I worked at, and they were looking for somebody to do hip-hop, and I got the job.
Right.
Drexel was looking for somebody, and I didn't necessarily apply. So Drexel was looking for somebody. I met with the director of the dance department, and I didn't know this story for 2 years after she had hired me, and I taught there for 7 years. But when I went to meet her, I went and, I showed up, was looking for a hip hop teacher. So I showed up, and back then I was like, I wore NYC sweatsuits everywhere. And I'm matched. I got locks down to here, matching baseball cap. And I know I had on my red, gray, and white NYC sweatsuit on with a red and white Philadelphia hat. So I show up, and she told me, when she saw me coming, she was like, "Oh Lord, another one." So I think she took the hip hop attire and was like, whatever. So we meeting, and I go in my bag to give her my resume. I don't remember if this was the fudged one or not, but I gave her a resume. And in the process, this book falls out of my bag that I quickly grab and throw back in my bag. I didn't think nothing of it. And she told me this story 2 years later. Okay. She's like, "You didn't think nothing of it, you just grabbed it, throw it back in." She said, the book that fell out, once I saw the book and said to myself, this is her, once I said to myself, if he's reading that, he's serious.
What was that book?
She hired me on the spot.
Yeah, what was that book?
The book was Digging the Africanist Presence. And it's up there. As a matter of fact, as Rennie is on the cover.
Can you grab it?
Yeah.
Oh my God! This is how you landed the job.
This is how I landed that job. Where is it? Now I can't find it. It's by Brenda Dixon Goshield. Where is that book? Oh, I can't.
So, we found a book.
Yeah.
What is it called?
So this is Digging the Africanist Presence in American Performance, Dance, and Other Contexts.
Can you show the camera real quick?
This is by Brenda Dixon Goshield, and she lives in the outskirts of Philly. And this Rennie Harris on the cover, so she loved Rennie. And turns out the director of the dance department, Miriam Shagir, Brenda loves Rennie. Miriam Shagir, the director of Drexel Dance Department, loves Brenda. So she was like, this was her favorite author. So when this book fell out, and I just chucked it.
Why would you do that though?
It had nothing to do with me meeting her. It just fell out my bag.
But it actually became why.
Right. It's how I got the job.
Wow.
So,
okay.
She said if he's reading that, he's serious. And I was at the time very serious about what I did. And I didn't read as a young person. Like I didn't like to read as a young person. My parents hired tutors, and I still wouldn't read. Like that was the worst. I was not very studious after this 6th grade on. I wasn't a good student. I did very poorly in school. But once I got into dance, and dance connected me with so many other things, then I became interested. Things were fun through the lens of dance. Right. So I'm studying anthropology through the lens of dance. I'm studying linguistics through the lens of dance. I'm studying philosophy through the lens of dance. Archaeology through the lens of dance, which made it much more interesting. History through the lens of dance. Learning that stuff in school, I was like, y'all are not making this. This don't see. I didn't get it, and it wasn't interesting, and they didn't know how to reach me. But through dance and music, all of this makes sense, and I can make a connection to it. So, she was like, if he's reading that, give him a job. Now, after that, I got emails from universities. It was like, hey, we heard the people at Bennington, which is a top school, heard about me. And I was like, well, I'll be in New York. Come check the class out. And Yale, so I was teaching at New School and in New York City, and one of the women, Faye Simpson, was teaching there. I would audit her classes, and she just loved my perspective on stuff. We became friends, and she recommended me to Yale, so Yale hired me. Wesley and I got through working with Rennie, because we did a show at Wesley, and then they wanted somebody to teach, so I did that and kept that relationship going. And every university either emailed me, contacted me, asked me to teach, except for USC. I saw a friend of mine. I saw an application online for part-time, and I applied, and I got turned down. But it's part-time. They're not going to fly me across the country for a part-time job. But I applied anyway, and I got turned down. But then a friend of mine, Mike Gamble in Sweden, sent me USC was looking for full-time. So I applied again, and I got it.
So I wonder if the person that turned you down as a part-time is the same person that accepted you to the full. It is? Oh, wow. Okay.
I told them they're no longer with USC as the dean, but yeah, it's the same person.
Hey,
I got both. I got the reject letter and the acceptance letter. I still have them.
This is how beautiful life is, right? You never know. Just because you get turned down by one thing, maybe something else is happening even better.
Yeah, that wasn't for me. It's the full time. Yeah.